Hey everybody, it's episode 404 of PodQuest, and we lost it.
We lost? Oh,
It was not found.
Oh, no.
We did it, guys.
You should just release the next episode as 405 and just...
No, we already did that once. Remember? we don't have an episode 5.
Right, because we never recorded an episode 5, right?
We skipped that week, so, maybe it was episode 4. Very early on, we missed a week, and rather than just, the next episode being the next number, I purposely skipped it, and we just never went back.
So all this time, we've been celebrating, episode 300, episode 400. It was the week... It was one episode early.
So no, because technically I released in episode 0. So we have had 500, Jesus. We have had 400, quote-unquote, regular episodes of PodQuest.
I don't know. Doesn't sound legit.
It is legit. It is. Anyway, I'm Chris. With me is Droo.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hi.
And you guys can't see it, but I literally just pointed to 2 separate sides of this room like you guys are fucking here.
I mean, let's see, I'm trying to figure out. Okay, you would have had to actually turn to your right, and then point to your left for me and to your right for Droo. But actually, you would have needed to turn, super right for Droo.
So I pointed to the left for Droo and to the right for you.
Way off. You pointed at me for Droo, so,
And frankly, the way I'm facing is actually, both of you are behind me. If we're talking about, where you both live.
Well, yeah, that's why I said you needed to turn to your left, because you're in the corner.
Oh, you were basing it off of my room's layout. I thought you meant,
yeah.
if we were at your house, recording in person.
No, if I'm thinking about your room's corner, you would have turned to the left, and then you still would have needed to turn even more to the left, and then I'd be on the left and Droo would be on the right.
Yeah, I'd have to do a full 180, and yeah.
Yeah.
But, anyway, I don't fucking know. It's been...
Look, I've got a squirrel in my house. It's been a week, okay? Alright?
My allergies, for whatever reason, I got home at 4:30. As soon as I walked in the door, my allergies just went into overdrive. So my eyes started. It was a little bit before I got home, so it wasn't right when I walked in the door. But I don't know how what allergies are like for you guys, but with mine at least, there's a build up. So I'll start to notice a little maybe a little scratchiness in the back of my throat. Maybe I'm sniffling a little bit more. And I was getting that on my drive home, and then I got home, and that's what when it finally clicked all the way in. So my one eye started getting really dry and itchy, and my throat started getting really itchy, and my nose was getting all congested. I'm like, this fucking sucks.
You know what it is? It's doors. You're allergic to doors. It got worse when you walked in the door, so you're allergic to doors. You got to get rid of doors.
Well, it started when I was outside, which tracks with the fact that I'm allergic to outside.
Outside, next to car doors. It started getting worse driving home in your car where you're sitting next to a door. Chase!
That poor boy. What? Have you gotten him groomed yet?
Yeah, he got groomed right before...
I'm fucking with you.
Friggin', what's it called? Fancy Friday.
Well, you act like any of us were there.
You were there! At least one of yous.
You had the most ridiculous fucking cost to give Chase a treat, though.
What? No, because it's free.
Yeah, and that was outrageously high. But it was 2,000 of your stream bits.
Yeah,
Who's watching your stream long enough to get 2,000 bits?
Maybe watch it more, and then you can give him treats more. It's not It's not bits, though. Don't say it's bits. It doesn't cost 2,000 bits.
I don't know the difference.
That means that would give me $10. It's 2,000 channel points, which is just, you watch the stream for 3 hours, and boom, you got enough. You follow me and watch the stream for 3 hours, and boom, you got enough.
Twitch has too many microtransactions. There shouldn't be that many currencies.
It's okay, they're taking them all away soon.
Are they?
Not paying their streamers anything.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Bits are bits, but mostly go to the streamer. It's you get... Because that's the Twitch donation is the bits. But Twitch doesn't really have that many microtransactions. It doesn't. It has channel points, which to me is not a microtransaction.
No.
It's integration.
Think about this, though. It's not just microtransactions, it's currency. Twitch is as bad as fucking EA games when it comes to microtransactions and currency, if you really think about it. So there are multiple levels of subscriptions. So that's a microtransaction. you have so bits are the thing that you can pay for, right?
Yeah.
So then you have your bits, which is an in-game fucking currency for a fucking video platform. And then it's a pay for in-game currency. And then you have your channel points, which are the free in-game currency.
Yeah, but
like,
it's up to streamer discretion. You don't have to have channel points out.
I understand that. I'm not saying
it's all. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be on the side of to complain about channel points is stupid.
I'm not complaining about them. I'm complaining about Twitch having too many fucking types of currency. Because you were sitting here yelling at me for not knowing the right name for your bits.
But because I'm not using bits for that.
As far as I know, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm using.
I can't keep track of all this shit.
Bits and channel points are different, and
they sound the same to me.
No, they're not, because you pay for one, you don't pay for the other.
No, I paid for those channel points.
No, you didn't.
With my good, hard-earned time.
You get 500 for following me, okay? So, don't even. That takes no time at all.
Can I just follow and unfollow you to get more?
No, I don't think that works that way. I don't know.
Well, that's bullshit.
But it might only be 300, but I can't remember. But please don't do that, because that'll probably fuck things.
Can I just try it a couple times and see what happens?
No, just don't.
I mean, you got your 150.
It's not like you'll go to my channel anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Look, we talked about it before. I at least always, every time I see you tweet about it, I retweet it.
Yeah,
there was that
hours
one
later.
There was that one earlier this week where I think you were already done streaming when I saw it and retweeted it.
That was probably Monday, yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think I saw it at like 9 o'clock. I'm like, he might still be streaming. I'm just going to retweet this.
Yeah, no, I was done at 9:30 because I had to go pick up my friend from the airport, so.
I figure at the very least it's, what's that word I'm trying to think of? Not engagement, but something along those lines. Like,
but
publicity?
I tweeted earlier. I tweeted
Maybe.
an announcement earlier today, and you didn't retweet that.
I didn't see that one.
Well,
so
you should have Twitter notifications on for me at all times.
So I don't, because the client I'm at on Wednesdays, I'm there all day, like in the office of like our point of contact. Like I'm not really on my phone at all, so I don't really see anything.
Sure.
Wednesdays are rough.
Excuses.
Wednesdays are a very long day. Very long day. Anyway, Rich, what's on the agenda tonight?
The agenda is a quick little, probably short discussion about the Nindies, because they had one today. Then we all should have watched Metal Lords on Netflix. And then me and Cobb at least, saw Mr. Strange and the Multi-Worlds of Insanity.
Way to take away his degree, you fucking dick. That man went to school for that title. Twice.
You know, I'm sure there's a version of Doctor Strange that didn't go to school, that isn't a doctor, but is still a Sorcerer Supreme.
Yo, before we actually remind me to talk about Spider-Man when we get to Doctor Strange.
I I won't.
Drew, remind me to talk about Spider-Man when we get to Doctor Strange.
Gotcha.
Thank you. So there was the Nindies thing today.
Yeah.
Or they've changed the name. I think it's now just like the Nintendo like Indie World Showcase, right?
I think it's the Nindies still. I that's what I googled or that's what I searched on YouTube to find it was Nindies.
So I think it's always been the Indie World Showcase, or it's at least the last 3 have been Indie World Showcase.
Yeah, like I think they stopped using.
Just called it.
So I think that's the thing. I think they stopped. Like they called it the Nindies in like the early like year or 2 of the Switch.
Okay, yes.
But then they transitioned away from that term.
Yeah, 2019 they had the Nindies, and then starting at least in December of 2021, it was the Indie World Showcase. But
which,
no,
same thing.
Well, no, yeah, it is the Nindies in 2018, 2017. Yeah, so it is the Indie World, but the Nindies is better because it's in my opinion to call this the Indie World Showcase is way inaccurate because a majority of the games that they show are already released on PC. So
well,
it's not really the Indie World Showcase. It's the Nintendo. It's the Nindies. It's the Nintendo indie game showcase.
See, I would argue the opposite. Previously, like in those early years, a lot of the games were like unique to the Switch, or at least coming first to Switch.
Mhm.
Now, though, a lot of them, like you said, are either games that are launching multi-platform or are already out on multi-platform. So, like, I don't feel like the Nindies fits it as well as just, like, a world showcase. Like, these games are from all over the place.
Like, honestly, I watched the Nindies to see what indie games I want to add to my Steam wishlist. And like, I added 3 of them to my Steam wishlist today because of the Nindies.
Of course you did.
There was really only 3 that interested me from this.
They're really, like, the only game that I thought, like, kind of looked interesting was that Batara. Everything else was just not, like, really doing it for me. Though the game about I will not play it because of the genre, but I did think the Hermit Crab game just looked funny.
That was dumb. I hated their video for that, though.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
To me, it was just like, it was a pompous thing, and like, it made me not like them and not want to support them.
Yeah, I do know, Erica actually wishlisted 2 games on the Switch. She wishlisted, Ooblets and, the Lamb game.
I don't remember the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb. It was one of the, like, last couple. It was the game right before the crab game.
Okay, I don't fully remember.
It looked neat. Like, actually, that was one of the ones where it's like, okay, that could actually be interesting, too.
Yeah. Like, Batara, I added to my wishlist because, like, that looks really neat, and it has, like, an interesting... Like, the way they're billing it, at least, seems very interesting. I added Electhead, because, like, that just seems like a fun, silly puzzler that I would love to try. And then Soundfall looked really cool. And,
it also had really dope music.
That one did look neat, but it's one of those ones where, like, I don't think I would actually play it, but it was neat looking.
Yeah, and so, like, both Electhead and Soundfall are already out are on Steam. I think one of them was out today on the Switch. I can't remember.
There were a couple that launched today.
So it would be, oh man, that's loud. It would have been Soundfall, because Soundfall released today on Steam, so it also released today on Switch. Let's see. It doesn't have, it does, at least Steam doesn't say anything about, cross, which doesn't shock me. It's an indie game. But yeah, it was cool. It added a few games to my Steam wishlist. I really want to get Electhead, though. Like, that game is, like, kind of down my alley of, like, the puzzler. Like, it's got some platforming, but it's like a platforming puzzler. Like, I want it. I want it.
Yeah, like, I thought, like, that one looked like it could have, like, some fun to it.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought, where did it go? The, Gunbrella, like, had, like, a cool aesthetic to it.
Yeah, I didn't really watch a lot for Gunbrella. Like, I was back and forth with watching it and working. But, like, I saw it and, like, I heard him, Gunbrella, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is and like, my initial reaction was like, is this, like, some sort of zombie, like, umbrella, like, Resident Evil type thing? But no, it's like a dude with a gun umbrella, and I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, and so I don't know if either of you guys caught this. There was the one game shown, Mini Motorways.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've wanted to get it.
Yeah,
on
it's
Steam.
been out. It's been out for a while. It was an Apple Arcade game in 2019. It's $15 fucking on Switch. Like, it's a fucking mobile game by every definition, and it's $15 fucking.
I'm pretty sure it's $15 on Steam.
I mean, it probably is. Like, it's 15 in one place, it's 15 in all. But, like, maybe there's more to that game than what they showed on there. No, but, like, that looked like a $5 fucking mobile game if I've ever seen one.
There's a reason I haven't bought it yet, because it is definitely like a pseudo $5 mobile game type thing. But it's also, like, it's very intricate, and I've seen a lot of videos for it. I've seen people play it on YouTube and stuff, and it's again, it's like a puzzler type thing. Oh no, it's $10 on Steam, not $15. But, like, overwhelmingly positive reviews, and it is 100% what they showed. You need to make sure traffic connects, so red houses need to connect to red businesses so they can go to work and whatnot, and it's exactly what they showed. And it's for $10, $15 that's how much it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, I get it. Like, I'm sure the people that made that game actually put a lot of time and effort and work into it, but, like, that's just, even if I enjoyed, like, the city planners, like, there's no way I would spend $15 on that.
Guys, I'm going to be right back.
Uh-oh. I think that means Chase caught the squirrel, Drew.
But, yeah, no, you're totally right about Mini. 15's too much.
Yeah. Did any of these games jump out at you?
Just the sound. Sorry, I'm looking through the list of them. Just Soundfall really was kind of the only one that jumped out at me.
Okay.
Mostly that music. Like, oh, okay. But the rest, it's just they look like indie games that have been would have been out on PC 5 years ago.
And I mean, a lot of these were, so you're not wrong. Oh, sounds like Richie's back.
He set off the trap, but he's not in there. Fucking asshole.
Chase did?
No, the squirrel did. The squirrel set off the trap, but he's not in there.
Man, he is basically the squirrel equivalent of Jerry.
I think what I'm gonna do now is keep one side closed and just put the bait all the way in the back and see if he'll just climb right in and set it off. We'll see what happens. But I'm so mad that he set it off.
Are you sure Chase didn't set it off?
It wasn't Chase. There's no way Chase could get over there. He was on the other side of the fence. Like, trust me, there's no way.
You're going to come home tomorrow or tonight or whatever, and Chase is going to have his head stuck in the trap.
Oh, absolutely. It's got peanut butter in there. He wants it so bad.
But there will also be squirrel bits all over your house.
I hope not. That's what I'm trying to prevent, is having a smelly ventilation system. But the fucking asshole set off the damn thing again. I hate him. But alright, let's keep going. What's happening?
We were talking about the Nindy stuff. Droo was just saying the only one that really jumped out to him was the sound one. Were there any other ones you wanted to mention, Rich?
No, not really. Like, there wasn't as much as I was expecting, or there wasn't anything like big name except for like those 3 that I added to my wish list. I'm kind of shocked that we got mini motorways. I wasn't expecting that that game's been out for a while. I wasn't expecting to see that again.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you too. Like, usually with these like indie showcases, there's that like one sort of like, obviously indie game still, but just that one slightly more like polished looking, more like noteworthy title. And none of them really jumped out at me as like that title. But, you know, like, it was still a bunch of games. Like, that there are a bunch of games for like different people coming to the Switch, which that's cool. Because like, and Rich, like you said, a lot of these games also going to probably be on Steam.
Yeah, exactly.
If they haven't already been for 2
or more. Oh dear. Well, I guess, do you guys want to talk about Metal Lords then?
Sure.
Yeah, we can get right into it. Into book club. So Metal Lords, it's on Netflix. It's I guess a sort of coming of age story.
Or teen comedy would fit too.
Teen comedy, teen dramedy maybe. Where there's a kid who's really into metal, and he's trying to get his best friend really into metal, and there's just a whole bunch of like silly like references to both metal, pop culture, like music culture. Like, at one point, the kid has a girlfriend, and he's the other one, the metal kid's like, oh, she's gonna Yoko us, and blah blah blah, and it was an enjoyable movie. I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. It had solid pacing, and I liked a lot of the references and a lot of the music they had in it too.
Yeah, like I thought the music was good. Like, it was a pretty, like, it was weird. It kind of walked the line of being like predictable with its tropes, but like also navigating around some of like the more obvious things. Like,
though, like, I felt like it was the most wrote by the numbers movie I've seen.
Oh, no. Like, it definitely had a lot of like the tropes, and you could predict what was happening. But so think about this. In any other movie of this kind, the thing that would have put the rift between like the two friends wouldn't have been the one friend just being a dick the whole time. It would have been the one that we followed the most, like bonding with that other band. Like, that would have been the thing, but they didn't go that route. They still went with the like, well, there was a rift between them, and they kind of like had to bring it back together, which happened very quickly. But like, they kind of like, the other kid, the drummer, very quickly figured out that like the other band also really wasn't for him. And the same thing with the girlfriend. Like, there was the hot tub scene where like he kind of very quickly like decided like that was the wrong thing to do. Mm-hmm. And in any other teen movie or like comedy movie like this, there would have been a scene where he goes and tells her what happened, and rather than there being any sort of communication between the two, they would have just had a big fight, and they would have not talked till the end of the movie when everything gets wrapped up with a bow on it. Mm-hmm. So like, they managed to like circumvent those super obvious ones that you're just like the scene happens, you're like, okay, so now they're going to get into a fight. And like it didn't go that route. They took a different route instead that was, again, like still predictable, but it was at least predictable in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, sure, like predictable in a sense, but like, dog, I swear to God, you're driving me nuts. It is predictable in a way, but it's also like I don't know. I like when you're sitting here saying predictable and tropey, and I'm like, yeah, boy gets girl, other boy gets upset because he's not spending enough time. But like, sure, that's what you see in teen comedies and whatnot. But it's like, is it predictable that she was just like, you want to just bang? Like, no, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting this sheltered, scared girl to just be like, you want to bang? And then boom, they just bang. I was not expecting the head musician from the band that, the metal kid really loved to be the doctor of the rehab. I also wasn't expecting him to go to fucking rehab. I was expecting it to be like military school or some shit, and I was waiting for him to not have any hair left. Like I'm trying to understand what you mean by like predictable, whereas like I don't.
So, Rich, you're getting too granular.
Yeah, like they did minor twists on the tropes. Like, and I'm not saying this movie was bad. It's perfectly fine. Watch it.
I enjoyed it.
Movie. It's way better than some of the other shit we've watched on here, but it's incredibly predictable. Like, it does zero new to like teen comedy movies. Like, if you're all about teen comedies, perfectly serviceable. Watch it. Good metal music, like they picked stuff, but like what I'm saying is everything from point A to point Z, you could basically predict what happened. Minus, little twist, like the girl did just like was totally down to bang immediately, or the kid got sent to rehab, or whatever instead of a boarding. But like that's an incredibly minor difference. Like the trope is still the dad sends the friend away, and then the other friend has to go rescue the friend, like from the situation.
Yeah,
that is still the trope.
I'm sorry,
it's comedy movies.
That's not just comedy. It's every fucking movie. Like,
that's why I don't like movies.
Let's stop over analyzing this shit like that. Then, like, every movie is the same three. Everything you see, play, musical, everything, 3 acts, beginning, middle, end. By the end, you have to go rescue someone in some way, sense, or form. Every movie, you can boil it down to that.
I mean, no, like you're making a vast generalization that is pretty accurate, but not entirely true. But it's also why this movie's like slightly above average, not like something amazing.
And just so like every comedy movie, very predictable. Like there are very few comedy movies where you're like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. Especially this type of comedy movie. But like this one, the difference is there are comedy movies that do it poorly, and you're just kind of like, all right, yep, no. I forget what we were talking about like a week or two ago, Rich, but we were talking about something where like everything. I think it was the Arrowverse. Like we were complaining about like Lena and Kara's like argument where like, really, if they would have just simply spent 5 seconds fucking talking to each other, all of their fucking issues would have gone away. And you have your comedy movies that do that do the same thing that the fucking Arrowverse constantly does, where they manufacture drama by just not letting people communicate. And then you have comedy movies that do it more like this, where like all the characters just kind of have their own internal issues that drive them apart. And like I thought Metal Lords was good. Like I enjoyed it. Like, being predictable doesn't make it a bad movie. It just means that, like, it follows the template of what these movies are. It just does it in a good way. Like, it wasn't about the two kids, like, it wasn't about the two friends, like I said. The thing that I expected to happen, especially when he went and did that wedding with the other band, was that he was going to agree to, like, play with that other band, and that was going to piss off the friend. And it did, don't get me wrong. But, like, that wasn't the thing that, like, drove that final nail in the coffin. It was that the friend is, like, he had his own issues going on about, like, not fitting in and all of that, and the way that he expressed that was through anger and isolation of everybody else.
Mhm.
And, like, that's why at the end where it's like, oh, the dad didn't send him to, like Droo said, like, it wasn't military school, it wasn't boarding school, like, it wasn't that cliche, like, Bill and Ted, like, if you guys don't do well on your history test, you're going to the fucking military academy. It was, yeah, no, like, you obviously have issues. You just spent $20,000 on my credit card. You need to go someplace and, like, talk to people, because obviously I'm a bad dad and can't help you, but, like, you need to do something. And, like, that was different. And, like, it worked because it led to a funny scene with fucking, Joe Manganiello as, like you said, Rich, the former metalhead who got sober himself and then decided to get a fucking psychology degree and go, like, help other people, telling this kid, it's like, okay, so you don't do drugs, you don't drink, you're just kind of angry, but you're also 17. Like, come with me. Pointing to the kid that is actually, like, hooked on drugs and a fucking problem and going, like, this kid's fucked up. He needs my help. You're going home. He's like, I'm telling them to make you leave. Like, the fucking board's scared of me. They'll agree to it. Like, you're out of here on Monday. Like, that was unexpected. Cause, like, you really did expect that, like, he would, like, sneak out or something like that.
Well, yeah, and, like, he did still have to sneak out because they had to do the whole, like, they had to do that whole sneaking out thing, but it's just...
Oh, 100%.
I don't know. When I never look at a movie and watch a movie and think, oh, that was predictable. Oh, that's like, I can't sit here and say that anything was predictable, because even if it follows tropes, I'm not sitting here looking for the tropes. I'm sitting here watching a fucking movie.
Well, the thing is, when the tropes just smack you in the face for 98 minutes, like...
Okay, but here's the thing, I watch every fucking Marvel movie. The tropes apparently would smack me in the face in that. I don't see them. I'm watching a fucking awesome movie with great acting and great action. Like...
And, you know, some of the Marvel movies, the action and acting overcome the tropes way more than this did for me. Like I said, this is not bad. We have watched way, way, way worse movies. Like, almost everything we've watched has been worse than that.
And, like,
but,
I just Rich, for you, I just want to make sure that you fully get. I don't think I know I'm not. I don't think Droo is either. Neither of us are saying it's a bad thing that stuff was predictable or tropey. Like, I genuinely enjoyed the movie. I laughed during the movie. It's just like, it happens. Like, it's common. Like, every movie has something in it that's predictable. Like, the worst case of it is like generally like a mystery movie or like something like that, where, like, if you know what's going to happen in that case, that's a bad movie. Like, do you guys remember that movie Secret Window with Johnny Depp? Like, that's a bad movie. I heard somebody say no, but I was talking, and I don't know who did it.
It was me. I vaguely remember that movie. Never seen it.
Right. So very quickly, in that movie, Johnny Depp is like some sort of like reclusive like novelist. I think it's actually based on a Stephen King book. And throughout this like weird, creepy, like Southern dude keeps showing up and like being stalkerish and creepy and just giving off like a bad vibe. I think he might have like done some shady stuff too, like murdered some people or something. Don't 100% remember. But like very early in the movie, I think I actually saw it with Vogel. We both basically said like, oh, this guy is him. He's disassociating. And like everything that we're seeing like this other guy do, it's actually Johnny Depp's character doing it. And he just doesn't know it. He thinks it's two different people. Like, he thinks it's another person doing these things to him. And, like, at the end of the movie, they do that whole, like, show you the scenes that the other guy, with air quotes, was doing, but it was Johnny Depp doing them all. And it's like, yep, that's what this movie fucking was.
Uh-huh.
And, like, that sucks. Like, when you're, like, half an hour into a 2-hour movie and you've already fucking called that. In this one, it's like, oh, these kids are going to get into a fight. Like, it's a comedy movie. It's 100% going to happen. If they managed to make it through this movie and there was no conflict between the two main characters, then it's not really a movie. Because like you said, Rich, every movie is a 3-act structure. There has to be some sort of conflict because you have to have that point of no return and then like your hero getting like beyond it, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that they could, there were other story beats I feel like they could have spent more time on instead. Like, they never really gave you a good like a good outcome with like the kids that were obviously bullies. Like, yeah,
they just
they kind of, well, they wrapped that up by like the big bully that got suspended because of the kid with the long hair. finds out what a mosh pit is, and suddenly, like, life is okay. I'm like, okay, that's funny. Like, he has aggression issues, so, like, the mosh pit is what helps him get that out, but, like...
No, that's not, like, he was going to kick the shit out of the kids. Out of, I can't remember the metal kid's name.
I don't remember. Hunter. His name was Hunter.
Hunter, yeah, like, he was gonna go kick the shit out of Hunter, and it's not like, oh, he gets his aggression out with a mosh pit. He gets stopped with a mosh pit, and a mosh pit stops him from being able to do whatever he does. Like, there's probably still resentment because it's a slice of life. Like, it's a time frame of these kids' lives. This douchebag bully still has fucking resentment for being a fucking douchebag.
Oh, 100%. Like, but if you watch that scene, so you're right. So he's starting to push his way up to the stage. The guitarist singer from the other band that actually ended up being like an okay guy who really had like Dave Franco vibes.
Absolutely.
Tried to stop him, and the guy basically shoves him away. And then you're right, like he gets to the mosh pit, and people keep shoving him back. And like he looks like he's about to punch somebody because he doesn't understand what the fucking mosh pit is. And then he sees everybody else doing it, and he gets like this like slight smile, and like you see him kind of lean into the mosh pit, like he gets it now, and that's the last you see of him.
See, I didn't get that from that. What I got from that was he still wants to beat people up, and he was getting ready to fight people, but the mosh pit kept him from fighting people. Like I didn't catch the smile, but what I caught was he still wants to fucking beat people up for like knocking into him and pushing him over. Like the kid who started the mosh pit with him, like knew what was going on and stopped him from doing it and let the band continue to play.
No, and like that part of it is true, but after he saw what the mosh pit was, you could see that like he realized that like that was a thing that he could enjoy, and there just wasn't like there was not resolution to that bit. And again, doesn't make it a bad movie. It's just they left that kind of like dangling plot thread of like this kid has been kind of shitty throughout the movie at various times, and then like you bring him back for that minute to not actually have it go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think his comeuppance was he got held up in a mosh pit that probably beat him up more so than he would have beat up anybody else.
I wouldn't call that a comeuppance, though.
I mean, he was going to knock somebody out, and people might have knocked him out more.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you caught it, though. This movie was done by the guys... the director was one of the guys from Game of Thrones, and the other guy from Game of Thrones was like a producer. Mm-hmm. And they proved... they're not great at sticking landings. So, but a side note just for people involved with making the movie, fucking Tom Morello was like the like music producer or whatever for this.
I think he was executive producer or producer in general.
No, like in the end credits there was he was like the music producer. Like I think he was the person that was like helping them pick what music to have in it, and like probably the way that they got, like, fucking Rob Halford and Kirk Hammett and shit in the movie. Mm-hmm. Because, like, yeah, I'm sure Netflix can... actually, you know what? Right now, Netflix probably can't throw the money around for that. But, like, I'm sure, like, having Tom Morello, where, like, he probably has those guys, like, phone numbers, to be like, hey, do you guys have, like, a couple hours to spare on, like, a Sunday to come, like, film, like, 15 lines for a movie?
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong about that, though. But that is what I would like to believe happened. But... I thought it was a fun movie. Like it had laughs. And like I realized they weren't really playing at the end there, but like they looked good playing.
Yeah, they did. I wasn't sure if they were or weren't playing actually. Were or were not actually playing at the end. Like I couldn't tell, but I'm not that much of a music player to really know.
It's always hard to tell in movies because they have gotten very good at like editing stuff. I think, like, the kid playing drums, I think, like, he could play, like, he did learn how to play a little bit. Cause there were scenes where, like, it definitely looked like he was hitting the drums in time, and it wasn't, like, weird shots where they were showing, like, the hands move, but not his face. And same thing with, like, the kid, like, the guitarist, like, he was definitely doing things that, like, the way his hands were moving and the sounds coming from the guitar were definitely, like, how that should be. Whether it was actually them playing, though, like, you never know. Because they could have just I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. They could have learned the songs and how they go, but not had, like, the speed and the skill to pull it off, like, flawlessly like they needed it. So they had them do the motions, but then like dubbed it with the actual tracks, like basically what they do for music videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't know about the girl because I don't know anything about cello, so I don't really know. Like, it looks like she was playing the cello.
Yeah, I think I don't know. They looked good trying to play them if they weren't actually playing them. But I think I don't know. I enjoyed this movie. I very much enjoyed it. It is a movie that I'd probably sit there and watch again if I had the time or if I wanted to. And it was fun. It was silly. There was nothing serious. There was some serious, but it was like all comedy serious. Like it was a good time.
I mean, I think there were a few things in there that were like that did hit a more serious tone that I don't know if they were purposely skirting around some of it, but like the girl definitely has some sort of like mental health stuff going on. Like I don't remember if they ever actually said what she took the pills for.
No, they never said what she took the pills for, but
like she definitely had like some anger management issues just based on like how she reacted to like certain things in the movie and the way that like there were quite a few teachers that were just fucking scared of her.
Yeah, I mean, it's the anger issues, the way she reacts, and she like almost cracked a kid's skull. So it makes sense that the teachers would be afraid of her.
Yeah, and to be fair, like that, like Hunter deserved that. Like the way he came into that class and like singled her out, like he deserved the chair thrown at him.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And like, frankly, the teacher should have shut that down way sooner. The teacher shouldn't have just been in the back. All right, that's enough. Like,
yeah. It's. I mean, when you have a teen movie, you always have shitty adults. Like,
I mean, you're not wrong.
I've never seen an early or like a teen movie or early teens movie where the adults were not shitty. Like,
yeah, it's a shame. I almost feel like this movie, like, it was not too short and it was not too long. I think it probably could have either done better if a little bit of it was cut to elaborate on some other things, or if it had like maybe like 15 extra minutes with just some of the character like development.
I see. I think it was the perfect length, because if you were to add that 15 extra minutes, like the 15 extra minutes would have been the argument between Kevin and Emily, where he's like, "Oh, she kissed me while we were in the hot tub and I was drunk and I'm sorry." Or it would have been like stupid stuff that would not have mattered. Like, I feel like adding 15 minutes would have cushioned it too much to where like maybe it would have lost its spark. Whereas like if they took any time out, like you already said, like there's threads that you feel like they didn't really touch on well enough. If they took anything out, there just would have been even more of that those untouched threads.
So to be fair, when I said take out, I didn't mean like remove entirely. I meant like replace. Because like I said, so there was the stuff with like the bully that I feel like wasn't. It didn't have a satisfying resolution, and I also just felt like the girl's name was Emily, right?
Yes.
I thought like her kind of like wrap up at the end where like Hunter apologizes to her and she just goes like, "I can't do this." I thought that resolution just, it was obviously happening. Like we knew she was going to be there at the end, but I just felt like it almost happened a little too quickly and a little too easily. Like there was nothing in between to kind of show like what made her change her mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said like if there was something else in that movie that like they could have shortened or cut a little bit of, and then just gave us something else to sort of tie those two bits together at the end, I think it would have just made it flow a little better.
So I think when it comes to Emily and the whole like I'm not ready, I think that was literally like she was like, because of her mental issues, like that was her best way of explaining like I need to go get ready. Like when she's like I'm not ready and then runs off, I don't think that was supposed to be meant to be like she's not ready to forgive him. I think when at the end when she shows up, she's like I'm ready now. It's like she had trouble communicating actually what was needed. See, like
I think that would be and that's a problem right there, because that's not how I read that at all. I read that as that like she has like obviously has some like social anxiety-esque things. Just with with body language, like you could tell like she just wasn't super comfortable in certain like one-on-one situations. And I got like that scene felt very much of like that this kid treated her like shit from like the moment they met. she was not ready to like forgive him and like be friends with him.
I mean, I think that's part of, like, that could be part of like part of the movie is this discussion of like, well, what was it actually meant for? Like there doesn't need to have a clear-cut answer.
I mean, you're not wrong. And like, frankly, like, it's a teen comedy movie, like, it's not meant to be like dissected like this, so.
But it's also not, it's not always meant to be super heavy, but like, when she first ran away and was like, I need more time or whatever, and ran off, or I'm not ready for this or whatever she said and ran off. Like, I was in that same mindset, like, oh, I get it, she can't forgive him right away, he was an asshole, blah, blah, blah. But, like, when she showed up, and thinking about it more, when she shows up, she's like, now I'm ready. I'm like, you know, it's, earlier on, she had the conversation with Kevin, where he's like, don't do it for him, do it for me, and everything, and, like, that's probably where she was at, and then he, like, her saying, I'm not ready, it's like, now I'm ready, it's like, oh, she didn't really know how to communicate with what she actually needed.
And like, I think you're hitting part of it where I don't think it has anything to do with her not being able to communicate. I literally think that she was not ready to like forgive and forget with Hunter. But I think like what you just said before about like the way that Kevin was like don't do it for him sort of thing. I think for her, like, that ending bit was supposed to be more of a like, she is now doing it for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, she's not doing it for Kevin either. Like, she's doing it because it's the thing that she wants to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, again, like, it doesn't have to, like, spell it out. I was just simply saying, like, in my, like, personally, I think, like, if they would have, like, trimmed down a few other pieces that, like, just didn't need to be there, or, like, just shortened them a little bit, and added an extra scene between, like, her leaving and then her showing up to just tie it together, it would have just, again, tied it together.
You see, the only thing that would have tied it together, the only thing they would have added was going to be another trope, and tropes aren't good, but it would have been the montage of her getting medal.
But again, like, did not say tropes are bad. Like, that's what you're taking away. Tropes are not bad. Tropes done bad are bad. Tropes can be good. Every movie has tropes. Every single movie. That's why they're tropes, because everything does it. You're associating tropes and predictability with bad, and those things are not bad. They're only bad if the movie does them poorly. That's what, when I hear tropey and when I hear predictability, I'm like, I hear, like, it's not good, or it's like, and you guys never said it's not good, but, like, the thing that gets me is when you mentioned it earlier this week, Droo responded with, yeah, it's a movie. Well, what did you expect from Droo? He doesn't fucking like anything fun. Sorry, Droo.
I like plenty of fun, just not predictable, tropey movie.
What an asshole.
And that's like, if you throw in one more trope, this movie, and if we threw in any more tropes, if we threw in the metal montage, turning her metal, like, which would have been the third montage of the movie?
Yeah, but the one thing that you can't have enough of are montages when they're done well. Every Rocky movie is made better by the montage.
Every Rocky movie is a montage.
Exactly.
I was about to say, it's basically just montage.
And you know which Rocky movie is the worst? 5, because it doesn't have enough montages. They fucking peak with montages in Rocky 4, and then fucking 5 happens, and it's a fucking nightmare. But yeah, no, tropes and predictability are not, like, intrinsically bad. And, like, Droo just doesn't like movies. We all know that. Like, we could watch the best fucking movie in the world, and if I would have said, hey, that wasn't bad, he would have said, yeah, it was certainly a movie. So Paddington 2. Why is that such a good movie?
Honestly, I bet it subverts a fuck ton of tropes. It goes trope, and then it's like, oh, nope, you didn't expect that. And it's like, yeah, look at that. It did the thing and then didn't do the thing.
It's rated higher than fucking Citizen Kane on what's it called? Rotten Tomatoes. So
yeah, dude, Paddington is 97 and Paddington 2 is 99.
Yep.
Just speaking of Paddington, have you guys seen? There's somebody, I don't know if they've missed a day yet. There's somebody on Twitter who photoshops Paddington into a different movie scene every day. And it's literally just like the Twitter like name is basically, I Photoshop Paddington every day until I forget. And the last time I saw it, like, it was actually the week around the Will Smith slap. He had done like 400 in a row. And like some of them aren't great. Some of them are just fucking phenomenal.
No, I've never seen that one.
Yeah, like he photoshopped Paddington into the scene, into the Will Smith slap bit when Will is sitting back in his chair, like after he says "keep your wife's name out of my fucking mouth," and Paddington like has like the like ooh look on his face, like in the chair behind him. I'm gonna see if I can find that Twitter account real quick.
Hold on, guys, I'll be right back. Yeah.
Oh no, what did Chase do now? Uh oh.
Totally got that squirrel, didn't he?
Oh no. Do you think Rich will actually be back? Here, I'm gonna send you guys the well, Rich can't hear this, but I'm sending the Twitter account with the Paddington stuff. And like I said, some of them not great, some of them fucking phenomenal. The one from May 7th, the Three Ninjas, that one's good.
Okay.
There's a couple after that are pretty good. Like,
I like the Star Trek one.
Yeah, right. And like sometimes he blends them in really well. Sometimes you actually have to like open the picture and like look for them. Oh, the Buzz Lightyear one. This is really bad, like audio content. But I will put this person's Twitter handle in the show notes. It's Jay the Chow, so JayThechou, and yeah, just every day different image of Paddington in like a movie scene.
The bird cage. Collateral is the
one with Jamie Foxx in the taxi cab and him in the background.
Yeah,
no, that one is really well done.
Who's taller, Paddington or Tom Cruise?
Ooh. The one after that one from Alien is also very good. Most of the ones from Alien are very good. Man, Rich is missing all of this. Poor guy.
He sure is. The kid Paddington has the chest burst. Alien. Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, like this. Honestly, like it's stuff like this that makes me want to actually like watch these Paddington movies just to see what the fuck is going on. Oh, the Queen's Gambit one's pretty good because he's like way in the background.
When was that one?
On April 22nd.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess while we're waiting for Rich to come back, though, did you like we're not going to announce it yet? But did you have anything you wanted to do for next book club?
Oh, like part of me wants to do the Raid Redemption.
The Raid Redemption.
I always forget which is the better one, the Raid Redemption or the Raid 2, but one of them is arguably the greatest action martial arts movie of all time. Like, I think it's the Raid 2.
I think you're right. I think the Raid 2 is like the one that people like love. It's like a Korean movie, right? Like a Korean martial arts movie.
One of them, Dave Lang, rates every movie ever against.
It's definitely the Raid 2.
Okay. It's how many Raid 2s out of 5?
I am watching it like a hawk because.
But I forget if it's streaming anywhere.
I moved the doggy gate back towards the living room, and I have a cracker set up by the sliding glass door. Chase, come here! And the sliding glass door is pushed open. I'm hoping he like sees the cracker and then didn't run. Hopefully he doesn't run into.
Just takes the cracker and bolts into the living room. I don't even know if Richie can hear us. I don't know if he's wearing his headphones.
I don't know either.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I might walk away quickly.
Man, do this shit on your own time.
I also have a friggin' wasp in my fucking living room that I've been staring at this entire time too, so don't even.
Man, your house is a fucking disaster, man.
It's a zoo.
Why don't you just abandon it?
I wish.
Like, just sell it to your sister. Wow. But, Drew, do you want to do the Raid 2?
Can you confirm for me if the Raid 2 is streaming anywhere?
It's on HBO Max.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and Hulu. It does appear to only be subtitled.
That's fine. It's a fucking movie where people are just hitting the shit out of each other. I don't know that the story really matters much in the Raid.
That's fair. That is fair. But yeah, it's on HBO Max and Hulu, so.
What do you use to find?
JustWatch.com.
Okay.
It's cool, like, it can find 99% of things. And it actually shows you, like, where it's streaming or where it's rentable or buyable and, like, what the cost is. The cost isn't always 100%, though. Like, sometimes, like, the website cost has, like, gone up since, like, it's the last time the database pulled it. And if you do I have an account set up for it because I have the app on my phone. It's not just the website. And I have all the streaming platforms that, like, I have access to. saved, so it'll just pop up right away. Like, this is not on anything you have.
Okay, neat.
Yeah, I like the site. I found very few things that like it didn't have at all. Though a couple of times things were just they weren't like their search algorithm isn't great. So like I've sometimes typed in like the exact title of a thing, and it was not the first thing. Like I had to like scroll through like 20 items before I found it. But like I have heard the raid is very good, and I think you're right. Like it's probably light on the story, so like I'd be willing to watch this. And I'm like 95% sure that this is like the Raid 2 is the one that Dave Lang always says is like the best movie of all time.
Like in my head, I can hear him say like them talking about a movie on GFB radio, and then him giving it like 3 Raid 2s out of 5.
I have definitely heard him say that before too, as I'm like sneezing and trying to like mute myself. And you know what? We could at some point do a double feature and watch both Paddington movies. They're both on streaming platforms.
Oh man, maybe we should just do
Paddington. Yeah, the first one is on Netflix, the second one is on HBO Max.
Okay.
And like they're kids movies, they can't be that long, right? So okay, Paddington 2 is an hour 44 and Paddington is an hour 30. So they're both right around 90 minutes. That's not bad. Wow, the Raid 2 is actually pretty long, 2.5 hours. Do you think Rich is going to make it back?
I don't know. But I have nothing to contribute about Doctor Strange, so...
You mean you didn't go see it?
No, I totally didn't even know it was coming out until Sunday when we were out of friends watching wrestling, and they were like, "Oh, it was so good." I was like,
yeah,
about that.
Do you... Have you ever seen the Evil Dead movies?
Nope.
Okay, never mind then. You might enjoy Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, just as being, like, because they are purposely campy.
Right.
So, like, they're like horror movies, and like there's, for being like, especially like Evil Dead 2 for being like a mid-80s horror movie, like it's very low budget, but it does have some like creepy shit in it. But it's also like, it's very campy. Like it's like Bruce Campbell at like his best. It's very weird though, because the Evil Dead 1, oh Jesus, the Evil Dead 1 and the Evil Dead 2 are just basically remakes of each other. So
okay,
Evil Dead 1, it's Bruce Campbell as Ash, and it's him and a group of friends going to a cabin for like the weekend, and then like they find the Necronomicon and all the shit happens and bad times. He loses an arm, everyone's dead, like all that stuff. The sequel is Bruce Campbell as Ash with both arms taking his girlfriend to the cabin for like the weekend, where they then find the Necronomicon and everything goes to shit. So it's basically like Raimi did Evil Dead 1 on like a low budget, and like that was like his like proof of concept essentially. And then a few years later, I think he just got like a budget and could like redo the movie, but instead of just remaking it, he's just called it a sequel. And then Army of Darkness is actually a sequel to Evil Dead 2. They're fun though. They're stupid, but they're fun.
I'm still watching. I had to go move the dog's water because the fucking squirrel's drinking water. But I still have my door cracked and I'm watching to see it.
He's not going to.
Probably not. But...
So just come on back and we'll finish this show up. Nope, he's gone.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I just hear him. Which is why I'm like, yeah, maybe.
But I mean, if he leaves, he's not going to turn around and run back in. He's not going to get outside and be like, oh, but this isn't where I want to be, and then come back in.
I don't want to keep my door open.
Oh, it's fine.
Because
it's nice out.
First of all, I don't want the stupid cat to get outside.
That's not your problem. That cat is not your responsibility. They should have put it in their bedroom.
And second of all, I don't want any other critter. I'm already dealing with a fucking bee. Or wasp, or whatever.
Well, you know what? That sounds like a personal problem.
Give me 1 second. I'll go reset it.
Oh, man. Only Richie would have a fucking squirrel in his house that he's fucking battling like Tom and Jerry.
Yep.
So in case that didn't get picked up, we could hear Richie in the far background, just silence and then shit. And that was it. Oh, man. Well, Drew, how's your week been?
Oh, slow.
That sounds about right. That unfortunately sounds about right. How was your wrestling thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can talk about that. AEW was in Philly 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty fucking awesome.
Was it like anything special or just a normal... No,
it was their normal weekly Dynamite Live show, and they taped their Friday night show Rampage as well. One of Sarah's friends asked her to go with them, and so I was like, man, I'm jealous. And she was like, well, just buy a ticket and go. I was like, maybe I will. And I got a ticket for like $35 or $40 off StubHub in the lower level, and then even moved closer because I was checking StubHub all day, so I knew there was a row one section over that had 5 empty seats in it at least, and just went and sat in one of them.
Nice. I always like stuff like that where you, like, even like Phillies games. Like, you go to a Phillies game and, like, the section's empty, so you just move closer.
Yeah, like, the security wasn't really checking, so it was just, okay, act like I'm supposed to be there, and I went and sat, like...
Yeah, and generally, like, nobody cares. Like, if nobody's sitting there, nobody cares, because, like...
Yeah, and it's not like I would have fought someone who was like, oh, you're in my seat, and I would have been like, oh, sorry, I must have been in the wrong row, and then just moved up or down a row or two to another empty spot.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not like you went to, like, you didn't, like, move to the front at the railing.
No, I did not go onto the floor, although there was a row that had an empty seat in it, but down there they were actually checking, like, people's...
Yeah, which, like, that's usually how they do that. Like, if you have, like, the really good seats, they're at least checking before they let you, like, head that way. But, like, once you're there, like, generally you can just go wherever you want. Like, if there's an empty row, like, 8 rows ahead of where you're at, and you move up there, no one really comes over and says anything unless the people whose seats they are show up.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like at wrestling things, do people even really, like, stay at their seat?
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever they show shit on TV, like, everyone's, like, standing up and crowded together, so I just assumed that people didn't really stay at their seats.
No, I mean, they're all generally at their seat, or, like, right around where their seat should be.
Okay. I don't know, it always just looks more chaotic when you see, like, clips or something.
It also depends, like, exactly where the show is, so this was at Liacora's Center, which, like, is an arena and has pretty defined seating areas. Whereas stuff at, like, the 2300 arena, where it's just them putting down chairs on the floor, like, that might get a little more loose with people being in their seats.
Is that one, like, right in Philly, like, kind of off Columbus?
Yeah.
Okay.
It used to be the ECW arena.
Oh, okay.
And it's changed names a few times. It's now the 2300 arena, because that's the address. It's 2300 Swanson Street, I believe. But
poor Chase.
Right? But yeah, so that was good. And then I've gone to a couple of concerts.
Oh, what you go see?
I saw Pup on Friday. They're a Canadian, like, emo, pop, punk band. They were pretty good.
Okay. I've heard that name before. I don't know that I've ever listened.
Yeah, they're like that kind of pop punky, a little more punky than, like, pop punk, but in that vein. And Monday, the 2nd, I had gone to see Catbite, We Are the Union, and Eve 6, although I left, like, 3 songs in the set.
Can't say I blame you.
Yeah, I mean, I was there to see We Are the Union, and then Catbite had gotten added after the fact. Apparently, originally... So that show was originally supposed to happen on the 1st, Sunday the 1st, but the Queen double booked down in Wilmington, so they moved the We Are the Union Eve 6 show to Monday, and they had planned to do a surprise show on Monday in Philly with Catbite and We Are the Union and Eve 6, but since that show on the 1st got delayed, they were like, do you just want to come still play with us in Wilmington on the 2nd? And they were like, yeah, sure. So Catbite just got added to that show. Okay. And I was talking to their drummer a little bit after, the drummer from Catbite, a little bit after the show, which is how I felt. And they're trying to reschedule the show they had scheduled for January, but that Catbite delayed because of COVID spike, that Omicron spike. They're trying to reschedule that for November, maybe at the First Unitarian Church.
Okay. Have you noticed how many fucking concerts are happening in Asbury Park all of a sudden?
I mean, Asbury Park's a pretty big concert place.
I know, but so I should rephrase that. That, like, there are a lot of concerts happening where that is the only place they're stopping anywhere near us.
I can't 100% say I really noticed, but I guess I probably haven't looked enough at Asbury Park's show dates.
Yeah, so, like, Senses Fail was supposed to play back in April, and they canceled that entire tour. So that, because they got an opportunity for, like, a different tour. I forget who they're playing with now, but they put tickets up for their new tour, And the closest date they have to us over the summer is in Asbury Park.
Oh.
It's like Asbury Park and like Hershey, PA. And like there have been like 3 or 4 other ones where like I've gotten like a Live Nation or like a Ticketmaster like email like, hey, pre-sale's happening soon. And I click on it and the closest place that the band's playing is fucking Asbury Park. And it sounds like Richie's back.
Yeah.
You sound
Did
winded.
you catch the squirrel?
No, I did not catch a squirrel.
You can't tell by
asshole.
how miserable he sounds?
Fucking asshole came out, was right next to the fucking door, tried to jump up on the wall, and then ran back into the back room. That's when I was like, you fucking dumbass or something like that. I don't know. But then I had to struggle with the fucking cage because that thing sucks to set that up. That's reset up, and hopefully he's not too smart because I set up the bait at the very back. Hopefully he doesn't walk around it to grab the bait. Hopefully he goes right through it.
I don't know. From everything you've explained so far, that squirrel is smarter than you.
Squirrel tried to jump up on the fucking wall.
Squirrels can climb anything.
Yeah, but he can't climb his way out of the fucking house.
Maybe he doesn't want to. Like, he gets the fucking enjoyment of watching you fucking run around in a circle trying to get him out of the house. This is a straight Tom and Jerry situation, and you're fucking Tom.
Yeah.
By the way, Census Fail is playing with the U's.
There you go. And, like, I'd love to go to that one. Not gonna drive to fucking Asbury Park.
I'm going up to Asbury Park the night before that for Dashboard Confessional and Andrew McMahon.
I think that was another one that I saw that was like in Asbury Park, and it's like that's like just far enough away that like I don't want to do that drive and then have to drive back late at night.
That one's also playing in Philly, I believe.
Okay.
I'm 99% sure.
Yeah, I know there've been a few of them. I think like A Day to Remember is playing Asbury Park, and it's not like it's like far away. Like it's not like it's like a New York concert, but it's just one of those like it's a hassle because like we have to leave early, we have to medicate the dog, like, and then like you spend all that time at a concert, and then like if it's in Philly or something, like maybe an hour to get home if you take the train. If you drive, it's even quicker. But like there, it's like an hour and a half drive. It's like I don't want to drive that fucking long, like at like 11 o'clock at night. That just sounds fucking terrible. I hate driving to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to get a hotel somewhere in that area after Dashboard, and then probably just go actually check out more of Asbury Park the next day.
Yeah, which
check out the boardwalk and whatnot.
Which does make like some amount of sense.
Yeah.
Rich, so while you were gone, Drew picked the next thing.
It was Raid 2, right?
Okay, yeah, you heard. Yeah, so in 2 weeks we'll be watching the Raid 2, which is on, I think I said HBO Max?
Yes.
Yep, HBO Max and Hulu. And it's rentable places, too.
Yeah.
So, Rich, do you want to talk about Doctor Strange?
Yeah, let's talk about Doctor Strange.
All right. So I guess before we spoil anything, what did you think of the movie just in broad strokes?
It was exactly what I was expecting from this movie in all the right ways. Like, it was what I wanted. It's what I was expecting. Not in a throwback, not in a tropey, like I predictable way, but in a, I expected this movie to be kind of out there, kind of wild, kind of Sam Raimi, very Sam Raimi, and I absolutely had a blast from beginning to end.
Yeah, this movie had all of the Sam Raimi tropes. All of them. Every fucking single one of them. That's not a bad thing, Rich. Told you earlier, tropes aren't bad. It's okay. Stop yelling.
I'm not yelling. I gotta keep calm, because that's when the squirrel comes out, is when it's calm. It's hard to keep calm while you're staring at a wasp trying to fly out the fucking window and stuff too, though.
Yeah. I liked it. I think the first Doctor Strange was better, though. I did like the first one better than this one. I think some of the stuff this one did, though, was maybe some of the best stuff that the MCU has done in a long time. Just like as a full movie, I enjoyed the first one better.
It's been a while since I watched the first, like since.
I mean, same. I haven't seen it in a couple of years.
I haven't watched the first one since Infinity War or Endgame. So like since right before Endgame. So it's been a while. It's hard for me to say like if I like the first one better, but I can say like I can understand like this one not like hitting all the notes for some people or really like very appealing to a lot of people. I had to throw down a warning to my brother that this might not be the best choice for a 7-year-old daughter, 7 and 4-year-old daughters.
Yeah, no, I mean like this was probably obviously like all these movies have violence, but there's a level of fatality in this one that, like, isn't really, like, you know that people die in these other movies. Like, but it's always, like, aliens, like when they're straight up killing things, it's aliens. Yeah. And then, like, when the heroes die, you don't really see them die, per se. Like, you don't watch Natasha die. Like, she falls off the cliff, but you don't see the impact.
Yeah, you don't see the impact. Right. You see her after she hits, and it's not visceral. It's because she fell a long way. She wouldn't have just hit the ground. Yeah. Like, she would have splattered. But, like, they didn't do that. She drops and she hits. And you see, like, normal people take blows that not a normal person could take, and they're generally fine. And it's when it comes to humans and human death and human killing, it's always implied. Whereas in this one, it's
like, there was some brutal stuff in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Our friends on Sunday were saying, like, this was probably close to borderline R-rated with some of the violence.
So, I had to text my brother, and I said, it's very Sam Raimi, and it rides a very hard PG-13, if not close to R at some points.
Like there is one scene that we'll talk about when we're spoiling things that, like, my jaw dropped. Like, it was the most visceral death. Like, not just in an MCU movie. Like, it wasn't bloody, but it was just the most, like, holy shit. I've never seen somebody die that fucking, like, just, I can't even explain it without spoiling it yet.
And that's the thing, like, the part of this movie that, like, really blows my mind that we've not seen in a Marvel movie, but, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, like, these movies have to evolve, is the gore. And there's a lot of gore, there's, like, viscera, like, in that scene that you're talking about, the second death you see in that scene, like, it's just insane. Even the third death was the worst in that scene. And that might be the one that you're talking about.
No, I think the one I'm talking about is the first death.
The first death was wild.
Like, all of those deaths were, like, it was one of those things where I half expected them. But I just didn't expect what we got.
Yeah. Like I knew that was going to happen, essentially, but, like I said, I was expecting superhero implied deaths. I wasn't expecting...
Like, even Deadpool wasn't that just visceral with the deaths. Like, like the Deadpool movies, and even, like, Wolverine stuff. Like, yeah, Wolverine is fucking stabbing people with giant metal claws. But, like, that's, like, you're never really seeing the, like, grittiness of that. Like, it's either from, like, far away, or it's just, like, him shoving his claws in and then pulling them out and the person, like, falling to the ground. Like, some of these things were just, like, almost, like, if somebody's neck was snapped, almost hearing, like, every vertebrae in the neck snap.
So, like, basically put it like this. Deadpool and a lot of the gore and whatnot, in, like, a lot of the Marvel movies and the X-Men movies is akin to, I would say, maybe like a Dragon Ball Z style, whereas, like, a lot of the death and stuff in this is more like slicing somebody with a butter knife in bleach, and just sprays everywhere and shit.
Yeah, dude, some of these fucking deaths were, like, not, like, anime deaths are tamer.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's just, it overall, it was, I enjoyed it very much. I like what they did with America Chavez, and I like her, how they're, like, how they introduced her and what they're doing with her, and essentially what they did with the multiverse in general. And, like, I will be one to say that the first trailer I watched was the first trailer, and I had not seen any, and, like, I was not expecting the main villain to be the main villain. Like,
same, and, like, I don't think that was ever telegraphed, really, in the trailers. And same thing, like, I don't think they really ever spotlighted, America in any of the trailers. So and she was another character where I think she's actually really cool in the comics. Like, I think, like, her entire concept is cool. And the character in the MCU is now skewed younger than she is in the comics, like, from the get-go. Like, she was introduced as, probably supposed to be, like, 18 or 19. And in the comics, like, that actress is supposed to be, like, 16 or so. But they kept a lot of her, like, origin, at least very similar to what the comics do. And they haven't been doing that as much with the MCU stuff. Like, they've been kind of, like, cherry-picking things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of assumed, just because, like, the whole idea that she is from, like, a, like, quote-unquote different universe, and, like, the way that they, like, led to that was just like, oh, wow, they're actually, like, leaning into this. Even if they have sort of, the comics have sort of retconned some of her origin in the last, like, year or so, they're still leaning into, like, her original origin. And that was neat.
One thing that's driving me nuts about this movie is everywhere complaining, oh, all of the stuff you have to watch to understand Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It's not really that much. It's Doctor Strange, it's Infinity War and Endgame, and it's WandaVision, and then Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. Like,
so to an extent, like, it would also help to have watched Loki, because Loki deals... And this really just has to do with something that I actually heard, like, after I saw the movie. Like, one of the filmmakers apparently made this comment, that they were actually disappointed by how tightly Loki set the rules for, like, time travel and the multiverse, because it made them have to be strict with how they were handling it. And that's not a shot. Like, I was just saying, like, while Loki doesn't, like, directly tie into it, I feel like watching Loki just gives you a little bit more insight into how the MCU is handling the multiverse. Also, Spider-Man. You have to have seen Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, yes, but like, barely. There's a throwaway line. There was this thing with Spider-Man. Like...
But, and, like, regardless, like, and I have something to say about Spider-Man, actually, after we start spoiling. I don't disagree with you. Like, I think people complaining that there's too much to watch, like, you can watch this movie without having watched any of the Disney Plus stuff. Like, you can watch this as just a sequel to the first movie, because they do at least allude to everything that's happened. And you can watch this and enjoy it without having seen that stuff. But they tell you, like, there's a scene where, like, Doctor Strange and Wanda are talking, and Doctor Strange says, like, yeah, I know what you did in Westview. Like, it's cool. Like, you said it right. We all make mistakes. And, like, it's like, oh, okay, so, like, we know she did something wrong, but seems to have, like, rectified it and made amends. And if you didn't see that, then, like, the movie just keeps going. It's not a big deal. If you did see it, you're like, I remember what you're talking about. I seen that.
Yeah, but it's more so the outcome of WandaVision, where she ends with getting the Darkhold and everything. Like, you kind of need to know that to understand, like, fully what the implications are of this movie and what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't disagree, but, like, you can 100% watch this movie without having seen all of the TV shows and still find it enjoyable, in my opinion. I think we are getting to a point, and Drew, you would probably agree, just because, like, you don't care all that much about, especially about all the ancillary stuff, that, like, these movies are getting to the point now where they should either make them a little more isolated from each other for a little while, just, like, to kind of, like, refocus themselves, or start putting, like, a Star Wars scroll at the beginning of it with just a like, you know, just like a quick like 2 or 3 paragraph, like, intro of, like, what happened in the previous movie, where the universe is at. So this way, like, if you didn't watch the Disney Plus stuff, you know that, like, oh, Wanda did this stuff to the city, Loki's out there traveling the fucking sacred timeline.
I don't really think you need to watch Loki in order to understand that there's a multiverse.
You don't need to watch it. I was saying, like, it would help. Like, it just adds a little bit more information to, like, the overall, like, how they're handling it.
Still, at the end of Loki, the multiverse is happening. It's restarted at the end of Loki. So it doesn't matter what the rules were during Loki, because this essentially takes place after Loki. Otherwise, there would not be variants, there would not be alternate timelines, because the Time Variant Society would have stopped it. The one and true timeline would be ours, and anything else that they go to in this movie would not actually exist, because the Time Variant Society would have stopped it. This movie takes place after Loki, therefore you do not need to see Loki to know what's going on with the multiverse. Because this is your first introduction to the multiverse in the MCU entirety.
No, I mean, the Spider-Man was.
Well, yeah, the Spider-Man. But, like, kind of. But, like, it's just, like, Loki doesn't matter. Loki does not matter.
I'm not saying Loki matters. I'm saying if you watched Loki, you just have more information about what is going on in the MCU as a whole. More so than you would have, like, watching Black Widow makes no, like, you don't have to watch Black Widow.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the information you get from watching Loki does not give you any information for this movie.
I disagree. Like you just said, like, Loki reset the multiverse.
Yeah, and but here's the thing. If you did not watch Loki, you do not know what the TVA is. You do not know what the Prime timeline is. You do not know any of that, so all you know is that there's alternate timelines and alternate realities.
And I feel like you still think that I'm saying you have to watch Loki.
No, I'm not. I don't think you're saying you have to watch Loki, but you're saying that if you watch Loki, you get more information and it helps with understanding what the movie. It doesn't.
No. It really does not help you understand Doctor Strange. It helps you understand the state of the universe.
But you don't need to understand the state of the universe.
I'm not saying you need to. You don't need anything. It's a fucking movie. I'm saying if you've seen Loki, you now know more information about how things got to where they're at. That's all I'm saying.
But like, in this conversation we started this about people complaining that you need to watch too much. And you're throwing Loki in there. It does not help. Loki does not help with this movie at all.
I think it does.
I strongly disagree with you. Loki, because of the way they ended Loki, with there being a multiverse, it does not affect how this movie is played out at all. If they ended Loki with there being no multiverse, then that may change. Or if they ended this movie with rules to the multiverse, that may change. But they ended Loki with the multiverse is a thing. That's all. The only information you get from watching Loki for the state of the universe or the state of the multiverse in Marvel is it exists. What you get when you watch Spider-Man and then this movie. The multiverse exists.
Yes, but you know it's honestly not worth arguing about. Like it's a movie. Like it really I agree with you from before. People complaining that you have to watch too much is stupid. Like, you can go watch this movie without having seen anything else and find it enjoyable. Like, seeing Doctor Strange 1 helps, because so you at least know where Doctor Strange comes from. But if you didn't see any of the Avengers movies, if you didn't see No Way Home, if you didn't see WandaVision, like, yes, you may be left with questions, but the movie at least explains to you that things like, they don't explain what happened, but they tell you things happened. Mm-hmm. Like, they tell you Spider-Man happened. They tell you WandaVision happened. Like, there is conversations with Wanda about her children and Vision and grief and everything. Like, they give you everything in the movie. And, like, I was joking before when I said it needs a Star Wars crawl. I do think that, like, we're at a point now where, like, these movies could handle, like, maybe being a little more isolated. Like give us, like, a more, like, focused on the new characters movie rather than... And this has kind of been an issue since Age of Ultron. They're constantly they're putting too much foreshadowing and world building into, like, the individual movies.
I mean, I wouldn't. I would, but wouldn't agree to an like it. Certain movies, yes, the movie is more about building up the universe, but a lot of the movies, it is just about the characters, like the one-off movies.
And I'm sorry, I did not mean every single movie. I just meant, like, since Age of Ultron, that has been a thing that has been happening.
I mean, honestly, the only one I can think of was Thor Ragnarok, kind of.
So, like, Thor did it. Like obviously, like, Age of Ultron spent a little too much time setting up things that would come in like, the other movies. But then you had, like, rather than us having, like, a more contained Captain America movie, we got Civil War. I enjoyed Civil War. This is not a shot on Civil War. And then, like, we had 2 back-to-back Avengers movies. Doctor Strange didn't really, like, lean into the rest of the multiverse or the rest of the MCU all that much. Like, that one definitely self-contained. Black Panther, I feel like, wanted to be more self-contained than it was, but because they had a kind of, like, almost backdoor piloted him into the movies by having him in Civil War first, there wasn't really a way to fully disconnect that the way that the earlier movies were able to do, and the way that, like, Doctor Strange got to be very divorced from everything because he had nothing to do with the superhero world at that point. And same thing with Black Widow got to be, like, mostly divorced from it because they released that one out of chronology. Like, that was hey, this is what happened in those couple of years between movies. But yeah, that's all I meant, was just more of I'd like more of these movies to, like, I would like more of the non-team-up movies to just be more focused on the now with that character than tying in things from the rest of the universe.
Yeah, I mean, I can get that. And I agree. Like, give me these character stories, but like, it's also hard when you have such a connected universe to like.
Absolutely.
It's because it raises the question. Like, we're watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. At the beginning of the movie, he's fighting a giant squid monster in the middle of New York City. Where's Spider-Man? Where's I mean, the Defenders technically aren't part of the heroes or anything, but like, where's Spider-Man? Where's Daredevil? Where's any of the other heroes? Like,
Spider-Man was obviously in school. Like,
he's not. No, he dropped out of school. He got his GED.
Yeah, but he's going to community college. We both know that. Come on.
I mean, with what money? He doesn't have any money.
That's, you know what? Touche. But also, Spider-Man lives in Queens. That was definitely like Upper West Side.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
like, you get what I'm saying, though. Like, when you have all of these heroes, if you have big events, where are they? Like,
exactly.
You disconnect them to an extent. Like, this movie was disconnected from all the rest of the other movies, but the only reason it really was is because, like, it only the first 20 minutes take place in New York. The rest of it is all over the place. The other heroes aren't going to be there, but at the same time, like, why didn't Doctor Strange warn the Avengers?
Well, I mean, who's left?
We've got the new Cap. We've got Captain America and Winter Soldier. We've got War Machine, and then a couple of bug-based heroes.
Yep,
like they said.
And so, you know how you, like, the explanation for a lot of those, like, you figure Sam and Bucky, they might not be in New York City. We also don't know where their stuff falls in this. But I agree with you, like, so if you go back to Infinity War, in Infinity War, all of the, like, MCU official, like, New York-based people fucking showed up to fight. At the time, like, Cap and a lot of them were not in New York City anymore. And then you had, like, you know, Ant-Man and, like, his group are in, like, San Francisco, and Hawkeye was on his farm in Middle America. But, like, Spider-Man saw it from a bus and fucking took off to the fight. Yeah. Iron Man saw shit happening while he was on a jog in some fucking Central Park. Like,
that wasn't Central Park.
Yeah, it was, huh?
It had to have been Brooklyn where they were at, because they were along the water and they saw Manhattan across the way.
Well, didn't it happen closer to Doctor Strange's place? Because he went to the Sanctum afterwards, right?
Well, he saw, did he see Banner crash in? Is that what he saw? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's been long enough. I know. So Doctor Strange's place is in Greenwich Village, which is like southern Manhattan. So, like, you're right. He definitely was not jogging in Central Park, but I just picked a park in New York. But, like, your point stands. Like, in that movie, something, like, major happens, everyone around shows up. In this one, it's like, we know there are people around. Why is it just Doctor Strange and
Wong.
Yes, thank you.
Wong teleported there from, I can't remember the name of their place in India, but, like, Wong teleported there. He wasn't in New York. He wasn't at the Sanctum in New York. He teleported there. And that's like, when it comes to, like, the second big battle of the movie, why didn't he contact any of the living heroes? Why didn't he contact Hulk? Why didn't he contact any of them to have them in that big battle that was upcoming?
That's very much Doctor Strange. Like, I agree. Like, that, it's the annoyance of, like, it's a connected universe, but it's only connected when it's convenient for, like, the screenwriters.
Exactly.
But it's also like okay, well, I guess that fits Doctor Strange's personality of kind of being very, like, I can handle this, it's fine.
Yeah. Because it's one of the things that makes me laugh when Conan O'Brien talks about, I think it's Conan, he talks about the Marvel Universe and how he doesn't like it because of portals. It might have been him. It might have been some other comedian. It might have just been somebody else in general. But they're like, portals ruin things for me because, like, it is the writer's easiest way out. Well, how do we get here? Portals. Once you throw in portals, portals suck. But it's like, they really use them a lot, but they don't use them when they need to, like, when getting ready to fight the big bad for the first time.
Yeah, and I know, oh shit, well, I had a thing I was going to say about it, and now I forget what it is. Fuck. Like, I had a whole train of thought, and it just fucking left just like that. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. It's funny because like I have this same complaint about like the comic books too. Like I think I talked about it here, where the most recent story arc in Spider-Man in the comics, Pete was injured and like poisoned basically, and like comatose in a hospital in New York City. Nobody knew what was wrong or how to help him. Like, was basically on his deathbed. All the doctors completely fucking useless. Mary Jane was with him. Aunt May was with him. Mary Jane knows he's fucking Spider-Man. Aunt May, at this point, does not. Black Cat also knows who he is and comes to visit him. Why the fuck did none of these people go to any of the super geniuses or fucking wizards that, like, are friends with Spider-Man? Like, he's basically fucking family of the Fantastic Four in the comics. Why didn't anyone fucking call Reed Richards? Like, fucking MJ lived in Stark Tower with Peter and fucking Tony for, like, 8 years in the comics. Like, she worked for Tony. Like, why not call him and be like, hey, Tony, do you have, like, a fucking nanobot that can, like, come clean Spider-Man's blood? Even if, because I forget if Tony knows his identity again or not. But, you know, like, there's a billion fucking super geniuses in the MCU that, like, I'm sure owe a favor to Spider-Man. And, like, Mary Jane definitely fucking knows them. And if she doesn't, Black Cat does. But neither of them fucking go to anybody. It's goddamn Aunt May calls fucking Dr. Octopus up because in the 70s she almost married the motherfucker. And goes, my nephew is in trouble. I need your help to fucking find a cure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
Yeah. It's just... comic logic just does not make sense sometimes.
Yeah, and then as soon as Dr. Octopus gets the fucking cure, Black Cat shows up with Captain America to fucking retrain Peter because he has to go through physical therapy. It's like, where the fuck were you when he was in a coma and needed fucking, like, Doctor Strange? Like, you literally, there were 6 issues before that of a tie-in to a Doctor Strange event. Why didn't you fucking ask Steven to come over here? He literally sent a fucking magic wand thing to Spider-Man, and it found the wrong Spider-Man. Because he needed Spider-Man's fucking help. Why didn't you ask for that in return? Why didn't you go, hey, Doctor Strange, since we helped you out, can you, like, make a little spell and make the other Spider-Man fucking not dead? But do you want to talk some spoilers for Doctor Strange?
Yeah, let's get into some spoilers.
Alright. So, I guess the big thing, just, like, right up front, Wanda, and Drew, you don't care, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Okay. So, Wanda was the villain.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was one of those things where it was a thing that, like, I thought could have happened, like, before WandaVision. But then after WandaVision, I was like, oh no, she probably won't be the villain, but maybe, like, she'll do something, like, with dark magic that, like, Doctor Strange will, like, her and Doctor Strange will have a conflict because of that. But I assumed, like, the villain would be something else from the multiverse. And then, like, after you've dealt with a bunch of multiverse stuff and Doctor Strange goes to Wanda to try and, like, get help because she is the other, like, she is the only other powerful, like, magic user that he knows of. And that scene where, like, they're walking through the apple trees and she says America's name, I'm like, I don't think Doctor Strange said her name.
Yeah.
And then, like, he stops and I'm like, oh shit. And then, like,
didn't.
Yeah. And then, like, the forest goes, like, dead. And I'm just like, oh, so, like, at the end of WandaVision, that wasn't her, like, trying to just, like, figure her shit out. That was actually her, like, going full evil.
She was reading the Darkhold and figuring out how to get her kids back, and then learning of the multiverse through the Darkhold.
Yeah. And, like, I knew she was trying to figure her kids out because there was that, like, that audio on that last episode of, like, the kids, like, screaming for help. But, like, they also showed that same farm, and it looked nice and everything like that. So, like, nowhere in my mind did I go, oh, that's an illusion. Because why would that be an illusion?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought Wanda being the villain was wild. And I'm glad that they finally, like, leaned into the fact that she is the most powerful fucking person in that universe. Like, look at what it took to stop her. And I guess to talk about the deaths. So we got to see all of the characters that everyone wanted to see. We got to see fucking Patrick Stewart as Professor X.
Yes, in his yellow chair.
Yeah, so Drew, you might care about this a little tiny bit. So Professor X is the last of the Illuminati to show up. And it's a very Professor X thing. Everybody else is there judging Doctor Strange, and Professor X comes in and he's just like, well, let's give him a chance. And he's in his fucking yellow hover chair thing from the animated series. And the music, very subtly in the background, is the fucking 92 X-Men music.
Yeah, it goes.
And it plays for maybe 10 seconds as he's like coming on into the scene, and that's it. And it was just like it was one of the best intros I have seen in one of these movies.
Yeah, it was, and like honestly, if it weren't Sam Raimi, I would not have expected that to happen. Like, I think Sam Raimi was just like, we got to do this, we got to throw that in, we got to throw this in, like we got to make everyone happy.
Yeah, but so we got to see Patrick Stewart as Professor X again. I don't know if you realize this, Rich. I looked it up afterwards to make sure. Black Bolt was Black Bolt from the ABC series.
I did not know that. I did not look that up. I never even watched the series, so I wouldn't.
Oh, I thought you did.
But no, I never did. Did Black Bolt have his powers in the ABC series?
Yeah.
Because wasn't a lot of the movie like him on the run or something like that? Or a lot of the series? Wasn't that like him on the run or something? Or, I don't know. I can't remember because it only had like 3 episodes.
They were kind of on the run. It was a short. It was like one of those mini seasons, like Agent Carter. It was like 6 or 8 episodes. He did have powers. The person that lost her powers was Medusa, and it's not so much that like she lost them. Her powers are her hair, and her head was shaved, so she can't use her powers if she doesn't have the hair to use.
Exactly.
We got. Sorry, go ahead.
I did not know that was him. I was honestly slightly expecting Iron Man to be on the Olympics.
So that was the rumor was that there was going to be Tom Cruise as that.
Which would be awesome, but at the same time would not make sense because although in Loki we have seen time variants that looked different, the multiversal variants all looked the same.
Oh, so no, so here's my point. So in this movie, we saw 4 Doctor Stranges, right? Or 4 Doctor Stranges in total. One of them was technically a statue. They were all Benedict Cumberbatch. The last time we saw Multiverse in Spider-Man No Way Home, we had 3 Peter Parkers.
We have 3.
All fucking different people, all vastly different ages.
Yeah, we had 3 different... But, like, you could maybe argue different times in their lives, maybe? But like, you're right, though. Like, it is weird that, like, Doctor Strange is all the same, but Peter Parker are all different. And it doesn't fully make sense. It doesn't.
Yeah. And, to finish up the Illuminati real quick, we had Maria, Rambeau. Maria Rambeau, which is, she was Carol's friend from Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
She was Captain Marvel in this one. So I'm assuming in this, like, what if scenario, she was the one in the plane that got the powers, not Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Cause we know in the 616 universe, which they actually designated it as, Maria's gone. She died during the 5-year time gap, and her daughter Monica was in WandaVision and is going to be in the next Captain Marvel movie. I don't know I don't know what name she'll go by. I don't know if she'll use her Spectrum name that she has in the comics right now, or if she'll actually be like just another Captain Marvel. But then we got to see Captain
Carter.
Thank you. I was gonna say Captain Britain. I'm like, Captain Britain's a different fucking character. Haley Atwell as Captain Carter, and the most fan-casted thing I've ever seen, John Krasinski as Reed Richards.
Well, he's like, hasn't he actually been casted for the Fantastic Four movie? Like,
no,
they never like officially casted him for that.
No,
except for maybe potentially now.
And so that was the spoiler I saw beforehand. Was on Twitter, I saw like somebody say like Reed Richards, like John Krasinski officially 616 Reed Richards, and then like in parentheses source deadline, but it wasn't linked anywhere. And like after I saw the movie, because that was one of those things where like it wasn't like a full spoiler, like I didn't see a picture of him in the movie or something like that, but it was enough of one. It's like that means John Krasinski is probably in that Illuminati scene. But after the movie, I did try to find out if there was an article of them like confirming that he was going to be in the Fantastic Four movie, and there's nothing.
Yeah. No.
Fantastic Four doesn't even have a director right now. Like the guy who directed the Spider-Man movies, John Watts, I believe, just dropped out of directing that movie.
I will I like it is fan casting, but I will say that it's not super fan casting unless they go with Emily Blunt, right? His wife.
Yeah.
As Sue Storm, because that's what the fans want. The fans want Krasinski and Blunt as Reed and Sue.
And honestly, like, I actually like them both. Like, she's a really good actress, and I think
she is. After
having seen her in that Tom Cruise movie with the really stupid fucking name, Live, Die, Repeat, the Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, yeah, that's it.
Like, she can definitely pull off like the action stuff too. So I think she would actually be a good Sue Storm.
Yeah.
They did actually allude, at least in this universe, that Franklin Richards probably exists. Mm-hmm. Which means in that universe they potentially have the most powerful being outside of like the actual like universe itself.
Yeah.
Which like could bode very well for Wanda down the line, or very poorly for Wanda down the line. Because like if they really wanted to, they could lean into that and have Franklin show up in 616 and just fucking make Wanda not exist anymore.
What are you talking about? You saw the end of that movie. I know it's not true, but you saw the end of that movie. They don't need to do that.
No, like, I mean, like, literally, like, erase her from ever existing.
Yeah, but, like, there would be no point in doing
no,
that
I know.
Unless they're trying to erase the multiverse, but...
Yeah. But so, Drew, would you care to guess which of the Illuminati died?
Professor X.
Yep. Anyone else?
No, I have no idea.
Every single one of them.
Okay.
But, like, some of them are really dumb deaths, and some of them are really, really ridiculous deaths.
So the one I was talking about earlier that was like just like one of the most visceral things I've ever seen. Black Bolt. Drew, do you have any idea who Black Bolt is?
Nope.
All right, he's an Inhuman. His power is his voice. He doesn't speak because even the smallest whisper causes such like force that it will like disintegrate a person. And that they actually show that is actually what they did to the Doctor Strange of that universe when he went rogue. Yeah. Black Bolt literally just looked at him and said, "I'm sorry," and turned him to dust.
Yeah.
So
like in this universe, I don't know if you remember, or you saw Endgame, right? And Infinity War, Drew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in Infinity War and Endgame, in order to defeat Thanos, you saw Strange use the Time Stone.
Right.
In this universe, Strange instead used the Darkhold, which corrupts the people who use it. And he used it to see alternate universes to find a way to stop him without having to everyone get dusted. And then after doing that, he was like, I can't be trusted, and had Black Bolt kill him.
And so the way that Black Bolt dies in this, I think it's Reed says Black Bolt will just like atomize you with his voice. And Wanda then just goes, "What voice?" and makes his mouth disappear. And then Black Bolt, without a mouth, makes like a noise inside of his mouth, and his fucking head caves in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you actually see his skull implode in a fucking Marvel movie.
Which, I will say, as ridiculous as it was, it's also kind of one of the dumber things, because, if you're that in control of your abilities, and to never talk, what would get you to scream when you don't have a mouth?
That, like, having your mouth disappear like that.
But B, if his powers are that strong, why did they bounce back into his brain and not blow his mouth open?
I mean, yes, that is true. And also, frankly, like, his head shouldn't have imploded the way it did. His head should have actually exploded.
Yeah,
but it was still just watching his head literally, like, briefly expand and then shrink back in and collapse on itself was fucking disturbing.
Yeah. But it was like, it's very cartoony, but at the same time, it's disturbing because he starts to bleed and everything. And it's like, to me, that's the start of like, all right, if I saw this in Looney Tunes, it'd be fine because he wouldn't be dead. But I'm seeing this in a show where he's actually fucking dying. And that's brutal. And then Scarlet Witch unravels Reed Richards like he's a bunch of rubber bands.
Which, like, that one, like, while that one was, like, dark because, like, you know he's dead after that, I feel like that was the most cartoony one. All the rest were a little more, like, violent. Like,
yeah, but, like, I think, wasn't it his heart or his brain just dropped to the ground at one point after she's done? Like,
I think so, yeah.
I was like, that's a little much. And then, you have Captain Carter and, Captain Marvel fighting her. And Captain Carter throws the shield, where then Wanda is able to deflect it and send it flying back at Carter, where she cuts her in half with the shield. But this is the only time it's implied. You don't actually see her get cut in half.
You do see the bloody shield wedge in a pillar, though. You see her react, and then see her, make a noise, or make, a, oh my god, and, as she gets hit, and then the camera cuts to a, covered in blood shield. It wasn't just, drips of blood, it was, an inch thick of blood, shield dripping down onto the ground, and you see the body drop. I don't know if you see it drop in two halves, but you do see the body drop in the background. It was out of focus. Yeah. And then,
and then this is the worst one. Captain Marvel just gets crushed. Apparently, that shouldn't have killed her.
I agree. I was gonna say, that one was the most, really? Some rocks crusher? And then when they get to Professor X, it's just it's a close-up of his neck being snapped.
Yeah.
And it's just, you hear every vertebrae crack, and it was just very, holy shit, that's a lot. There was also the scene with the Doctor Strange, actually both Doctor Strangers that they killed on screen, full out killed, were pretty fucking bloody. The Darkhold Doctor Strange from the timeline or the multiverse that was the already destroyed.
Verse. Yeah, the integrated verse. Yeah, that was an awesome sequence. That whole fight sequence I loved.
But him getting thrown through the window and then impaled on the fence, that was not a Marvel movie thing, I feel.
No, not at all. And then the Strange what were they calling him? The internet was calling him Defender Strange, which was his first one.
Yeah.
He gets stabbed through the leg and then stabbed through the chest, I think.
Yeah, by the thing that they're fighting in that weird in between zone.
Yeah, which that wasn't really all that bad, but it was still kind of bad.
It was still just more violent than you get in a lot of these.
Yeah.
I was also fully on board for the end with fucking Doctor Strange as a Deadite. That was Sam Raimi just Marvel gave Sam Raimi a budget, and Sam Raimi said, I'm putting a fucking Deadite in this movie.
Yeah, which was great. I loved it. Once I realized that, it was Sam Raimi, or, at the end after... initially I was like, this is a little, too campy. But then, once, I had realized it was Sam Raimi doing the movie, I heard someone say it, or I saw... I might not have noticed the crawl. I didn't notice who was directing the movie until after I saw it. But once I read, Sam Raimi, I was like, alright, that makes sense now. Or no, it was once... I saw Bruce Campbell in the movie. That was oh right, it's Sam Raimi. That makes sense now. And then the Deadite part, I was like, this is very Sam Raimi, so it makes sense, and I like it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I will also throw out there, this isn't really a spoiler per se. This had some of the better cinematography and just, chances taken with the way scenes are filmed and staged than, a lot of these, superhero movies generally take. Marvel movies are usually pretty kind of, color by numbers when it comes to just, how they're shot. And, the DC movies tend to just lean into the darkness. This movie was, all over the place. When they're tumbling through the multiverse, when America and Doctor Strange initially go through, and they're hitting all those different worlds, and the camera is kind of, rotating so that, you're getting that, effect, that, disorientation that they must be feeling by just the way the camera is panning around them, or other scenes where they were very specifically filming things from an angle that was lower to give it that very just out of place vibe.
Yeah,
just a lot of stuff like that you just don't see in superhero movies.
Yeah, and it's just Scarlet Witch and the whole what was the universe number?
So 616 is the Prime universe,
is
and
our
then
universe.
838 was the one that they were at.
Yeah. So the whole Scarlet Witch sequence in 838, after she kills the Illuminati and she's chasing after Strange, I'm just I was not expecting to get scare, suspense, kind of jump scare stuff like that. I knew there was going to be some suspenseful, kind of scary things, but when she's walking through covered in blood and like dripping with blood and like just doing these jump scares. I was like, this is wild. This is wild, man.
Yeah, like they really did, like, they leaned into a lot of stuff that these movies don't often get to do, and I do think that was for the better of it. I just feel like I said kind of when we weren't spoiling things, it's not my favorite MCU movie, but I think they took the most chances in like the best ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It definitely, like, I agree. It's not the best MCU. But I think it is above middle of the line. I think it is up there in a really good MCU movie. It's like, it's probably, like, I'm trying to think of other, like, I know people didn't like Age of Ultron, but Age of Ultron was actually very good, but it's, like, not as good as, like, the original Avengers and some of the better ones. So, like, it'd be between, like, Age of Ultron and probably, like, Civil War and stuff. Like, it's not the worst, it's not the best, but it is better than the average.
I would agree with that, and, like I keep saying, it took chances that these movies never fucking take. And, like, yes, like, at the end of the day, like, everything is kind of just back to where it was. Like, there really weren't, because they only killed characters from an alternate universe that really didn't matter in the long run, like, there was no real impact to, like, our universe. Because we all know, like, Wanda isn't dead. Mm-hmm. She's only as dead as the MCU wants her to be. So, like, if Elizabeth Olsen doesn't want to do Marvel movies anymore, or Marvel stuff, then sure, she's dead.
See?
But if she still has stuff on her contract, she'll be back.
You always check the body. That's the thing. You always check the body. And they never check for her body. Like, she got crushed by an entire thing. But, like, she got crushed and then the Darkhold was... It's not that, like, the Darkhold was destroyed and then she got crushed. Like, she's still alive. She's still living. It's just, yeah, like, they'll pull her out when they need to use her.
And, like, because, you know, her death was that mountain temple collapsing on her. Yeah. Like, she's already proved that she can withstand stuff like that. So, like, there's no reason to think that she didn't simply put, like, a little protective bubble around herself.
Yeah.
She did at least, like, I think, like, at least they allude to that being the reason, is that, like, she realizes, and at the end there, that, like, she had gone to a very dark place that, like, she didn't want to be, and, like, that was sort of, like, her redemption. Yeah. And I feel like if they do bring her back for anything, it's not going to be as a villain, but she's also not going to be accepted as a hero.
Yeah. Maybe. Like, it depends on what Doctor Strange tells everyone. Like,
if they brought her... Sorry, go ahead.
Like, with how both connected and disconnected these movies and worlds are with each other, like, this wasn't a team-up movie. So is the team gonna know?
But so, I guess the thing that I'm thinking of is, like, as a whole, the people that don't know what happened in this movie still know what happened with Westview. And, like, while she set that right, it was still a thing she did, and then she took off.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what I mean, where, like, even if she's trying to, like, atone for what she's done, like, in the last, like, year of the MCU, she's not going to, like, no one is going to trust her.
Yeah, but that's generally, isn't that Scarlet Witch just in general? Like, it's always unsure of whether or not she's good or evil. Like, she's, like, usually good, but sometimes she's not.
Since House of M, that's kind of been where they alluded. She is generally more well received by the Avengers than the X-Men. But in the comics, they've, like, fucked with her and Quicksilver so much where, like, they were villains and then they were Avengers, and they've kind of done some, like, shitty stuff over the years, but they always kind of end up coming back to, like, the side of the Avengers. Like, they never go full supervillain after, like, they join the Avengers. Except when, which is what this whole storyline was kind of, like, pushing from, Avengers Disassembled, is where Wanda does snap because, like, she is being manipulated by somebody. I think it might have been Doctor Doom, actually. And, like, she does snap, and she does, cause a bunch of Avengers to be murdered, and then she essentially eradicates mutants, for, like, a decade of comics. So, like, you know, like, as far as the mutants are concerned, like, she used to be a mutant, now she's not one anymore because they retconned that. So the mutants look at her as both a pretender and the person that nearly drove them to extinction. But
anything else? The post-credit scene, the first one at least.
Oh, right, where they introduced Clea.
Yeah, they introduced Clea, which I had to Google. I had no idea who the fuck that was. I was like, is that Psylocke? No, that's not supposed to be Psylocke.
No, so Clea is the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension.
Yeah, after looking all that up, Sorcerer Supreme. It's assumed she's going to be the future love interest because they get married in the comics and stuff. But she's also the daughter of Dormammu, who was technically the villain in the first Doctor Strange.
Yeah. This is not a shot at. So it's Charlize Theron is who they cast. This is not a shot at her. I actually think she's a very good actress. I'm just always I've been getting more and more confused with some of like the MCU castings. So like these movies don't come out super quick per character. Like Doctor Strange 1 was 2016. Doctor Strange 2 is 2022.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron is 46. I feel like she is not going to want to be doing big action movies a decade from now.
But see, she doesn't have to be doing big actions. Like, she can still be in an action movie, but not be doing big action stuff, because she's a sorcerer. All she has to do is wave her hands.
I mean, you're not wrong. I just, like, and they do this all the time, where, like, they seem to cast people that are that skew slightly older. And, like, they're generally good actors, and, like, they're good for the role at that moment. But, like, you get such less time with them than trying to find, like they did at the beginning, like Robert Downey Jr. notwithstanding, who was already, like, established, and I want to say in, like, his mid-40s. Like, Chris Evans was still fairly young, Scarlett Johansson fairly young, Chris Hemsworth fairly young. But now it's like Benedict Cumberbatch was in, like, his 40s when he was cast as Doctor Strange. Charlize Theron is in her 40s. Like, why not cast these characters that you're introducing now to be younger actors and actresses so that you get more time with them?
I mean, I can see what you're saying, but also at the same time, when it comes to, like, specific characters, let's go with Doctor Strange and Benedict Cumberbatch. He's supposed to be older. He's a doctor. He's an established doctor. You don't become a doctor in your 20s.
Yes,
like,
you do.
You're like a doctor to the extent he was.
Oh no, but I mean, like, generally you finish
shit.
You finish med school in your 20s.
Yeah, but, like, to get to the extent that Doctor Strange was, as established as he was and everything.
Let me tell you about a little person called Doogie Howser.
Look, he's an exception.
He's not wrong.
Okay? I know, he's not wrong, but he's an exception. But then, like, also with Charlize Theron, like, we don't know what their intentions are with her. She's usually in the comics a villain. Like, she's along the side with Doctor Strange, but she's a villain mostly.
Well, and it's not so much that she's a villain, like, she is from the Dark Dimension. She's basically from Hell. She is the current Doctor, like, she is the current Sorcerer Supreme of Earth, though, because Doctor Strange is dead.
Yeah. So, like, maybe their intentions with her are only, like, 1 or 2 movies. Like, maybe they're not intending to have her for, maybe she's just a way to get Dormammu back into Doctor Strange 3.
I don't disagree. It's just, like I said, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch both of them will probably be in their 50s by the time they make Doctor Strange 3.
Yeah,
it's just, at that point, it's like, you know, you're getting these big names, they cost a lot of money, why not go a little bit younger, and, like, even if they, like, and, like, Clea, like, having somebody that's, like, closer to age to Benedict Cumberbatch does make some amount of sense, because it would be weird if they cast a 22-year-old to be his love interest. 100%. But rather than introducing Clea for, like you said, like, maybe 1 movie, why not just introduce somebody else younger, male or female, doesn't matter which, as, like, another character that could then, like, stick around for a longer time and, like, be relevant for a longer time. It's, like I said, it's just, like, a weird thing that, like, these movies keep seeming to do. Like, they keep and it's like all of them, even the DC movies, like, they tend to just cast people slightly older when, like, they want to build these universes. And it's like, but why are you casting somebody in their 40s when you're only releasing these movies every 6 years? Like, they're not going to want to, and you are correct, like, these characters are sorcerers and shit like that. So, like, they don't have to have fist fights. But when you're casting somebody that in a role that is all fist fighting, like, they're not going to be doing that when they're 60. And, like, it's not going to be as believable when they're 60. So, I don't know. But I think we've probably covered what we want to, unless you have anything else you want to talk about? About
no,
Doctor Strange, I should say.
No, that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, I realized what time it was, and I know you wanted to try and wrap up around that. So I figured now was a good stopping time.
Yeah.
Droo, do you think you're going to see Doctor Strange 2 at any point?
Maybe.
Did you see the first one?
I believe I watched it on Disney Plus with Sarah.
Okay, so you'll probably, like, if anything, you'll probably see it after it hits, like, stream.
Yeah.
That's fair. It was fun. Like, if you like campy, like, it has a lot of Sam Raimi campy, which, not a bad thing.
Sure.
But I guess other than that, we announced it earlier, our next book club will be in 2 weeks, which would be the episode on the 26th of May. And we'll be talking about The Raid 2, which is a 2014 movie from, I'm going to say Korea, but I might be wrong.
I believe that's correct.
And you can find it on, I think we said HBO Max and Hulu.
Yes.
And then anything else? Rich,
it is Indonesian.
Indonesian. Okay. And Rich, do you have any, like, stream stuff you want to plug before I plug everything else?
The only thing that I'm really going to be plugging for a while is my 1-year stream anniversary is Wednesday, the 1st of June. That guy's got a little wiener. I'm not going to be doing anything major on that day because we got to record podcasts and I have to be an adult the next day. So I will be streaming probably No Man's Sky, which was the game I streamed that day.
I'm sorry, what day was that again? I got distracted by the woo!
Yeah, June 1st. Wednesday, June 1st. It's a couple weeks from now. But that Saturday, I'm planning a subathon. And what that means is I will do my normal stream time frame of 3 hours. I will start at noon. And for every sub that I get starting on that day, I will add an additional hour. I am, because I'm an old man, capping it at 24 hours. There are people who have gone for like 4 days. There are people who are still going now at like 300, or at like 20 days. It's wild. I'm capping my sub at 24 hours, because I have work on Monday. But yeah, that's really all I'm planning right now, so come, remember twitch.tv/b_walnuts. I stream a couple days a week, but that's like the next big thing is, that's the 3rd, right? No, the 4th. Saturday, June 4th is my 1-year, stream anniversary subathon.
So, speaking of, like, subathon things, just real quick, I thought this was funny. A former GameSpot person, she did one, I think it was last weekend, and I saw it, pop up, and when she started it, she put just, like, 2 hours, it was going to be, like, a 2-hour stream, pending any, like, sub stuff, and I think it was like 10 minutes for every sub. Mm-hmm. And at one point, like, I had like opened it like, I don't know, 30 minutes in, and she was already up to like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And apparently at some point, because she had hit 8 hours, she and I had apparently said it at the beginning that she was going to subtract the 2. She just wanted to have something on the clock to get started with, but like she was only going to stream based on the sub goals. And when she did that, apparently the people in her chat decided to retaliate by just mass subscribing and mass gifting. So she ended up with, I think, close to a 24-hour stream altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Because I looked the next morning to see where it was at. And so she had started at like 8 o'clock at night on like Saturday. And like I said, at like 9:30, it was at like 8 or 9 hours. And then the following morning at 9:30, she still had 12 hours to go.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, a streamer that I follow and watch occasionally, she just had a subathon for herself, and she reached 4 days and 20 hours.
That's insane.
Yeah. I think she might have, like, gotten close, if not over, but I think she capped it at 4 days and 20 hours. She's also... She smokes weed and whatnot on her stream, and so it was like a big deal, like 420. And so like, yeah, it's nuts, and it can be very unhealthy if you do it the wrong way, which is why I don't want to have a subathon set for like a week or whatever, because like, first of all, ain't nobody gonna be paying me enough subs to have me live for a week.
Yeah, I mean, like, even getting 24 for 24 hours might be pushing it.
Yeah.
No offense, I mean, like, you just don't have the
following. No, and I would need 21 subs, which I generally cap at about 15 a month, or 14 a month. So like I would need 21 subs in order to get the 24 hours. And I kind of, even announcing it, I kind of regret announcing it, but I'm like, it's something to do. It'll be fun, and I can prepare, and I can make sure I've got like food and whatnot, and I'm setting up a service on my Twitch to where people can donate to me by sending me food, so we can do that as well. Because I'd rather get food donations than actual money donations, because that's how fat I am.
So, Droo, do you want to start taking donations for us so that, like, in the last minute of Richie's stream, we can just make him go 24 hours?
Yes, let's do it.
That would only be between the two of you is like $60 each to get me the 20 hours. So that's on you guys. If you want to do it, go for it. I'll gladly take your money.
No, I'm not going to use my own money. What are you, out of your mind?
What are you gonna do?
That's why I said, do you want to start taking donations for us?
Oh. I mean, yeah, if people are gonna donate to you, sure. But I've decided, like, if we do end up breaking the 21 subs or whatever, or if we go above, I'll probably try to do something to pay back, like, what additional hours we might have gotten, like, maybe a long stream the following Saturday or something like that. And I haven't fully decided 100% how I'm doing it.
A lot of people do that.
All I know is I'm capping it, because I can't go more than 24.
Well, it's also not your full-time job either, so,
Yeah.
like, I feel like if it was what you did full time, it'd be different, because you could be like, all right, like, it's been 24 hours, there's still 12 hours to go, it's unhealthy to stay up for 36 hours, I'm going to go sleep, we're going to do the last 12 hours at 10 a.m. Monday morning.
Some people will actually stream themselves sleeping, like,
which I feel like that's cheap.
Well, I mean, other people will, like, stream themselves working out and stuff, like, they'll stream their day. If they break. And I could definitely, if I were to break 24 hours, if I were to get, like, 48, 36 hours, whatever, or, I don't know, I went 48, then 36. But, like, if I were to get 48
You're bad at math.
or more, like, if I were to get, like, 3 or 4 days, like, I'd be streaming myself working. I wouldn't be able to, like, I'd have my stream open, I'd be able to check it and talk to people, but, like, I wouldn't actually be gaming or anything. The stream would be me working.
So everyone would get to see you rage out every time, like, you're...
Yeah, the stream today would have been me recording one quest and then trying to catch a fucking squirrel. Like, it's what people do.
I mean, you're not wrong. But I think with that, we're going to wrap it up. If you'd like to find some more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All that stuff helps a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us emails to social@one-quest.com. But other than that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See yous.
Bye.